So it hasn't been that long since my last order from knivesofrance.com, but he just recently posted some new knives over there. One of them sitting in front of me here, and I did order another one, which will probably be the next video or maybe the one after that. I don't know, you'll see it. But this is the Coursolle, I believe it might be pronounced, or Coursolle. I don't know. I can't see any other way to pronounce that. Pradel, but it's like a smaller version of the Pradel. I have my bigger Pradel here, and this one's made by a different company, but I guess they must have like knife patterns because like this is a Pradel and this is a Pradel, but that's a smaller Pradel, so it must be like Barlow is here in England, where they have different versions of it and everything, but they're all like the same pattern kind of. But this is a smaller version of the Pradel, and this is more of like a working man's version of the Pradel, in my opinion, because instead of horn, you have rosewood. The blade is again carbon steel. Obviously, that's generally what I buy. I do like the little like wrench stamp there in the blade. That's cool. This knife did come with a sticker on the blade, so there's a little bit of that residue left. I don't know why they had to do that. I tried to remove it with some WD-40, which usually does a pretty good job, but I was really struggling, so I didn't get all of that off. But I really like the little wrench stamp. I think that's very cool. Um, but yeah, this is a pretty much smaller knife. The blade's a little bit more rudimentary. It looks a little bit less like super, like they didn't spend a whole lot of time on it, whereas compared to like the regular Prado, it's much more like pretty obvious that somebody spent quite a bit of time on it. Whereas with this one, it's more rudimentary, I guess maybe, and you got wooden handles and everything. Cool thing about this knife, does still have a half stop like the other Prado. But you can actually close this one without easing down the blade because the blade does have a kick. So that's neat for a French knife. The action on this one's actually pretty good. I haven't put any mineral oil in it or anything yet, but the action's pretty good, I would say. Some mineral oil, it'll be even better. The blade centering, the blade is touching the liner on this side, but that doesn't really bother me, as I've came to find out, because I've been carrying the Alpin off and on for like 3 weeks almost, and it is touching the liner as well, and I love that knife. So probably not that big of a deal, honestly, especially on a working knife like this is. I imagine this is more along the lines of what an average Frenchman, somebody who works a trade or something, would have in his pocket, because it's much more like a manageable size for a pocket knife. Not necessarily manageable, but a much more like normal size for a pocket knife. Here it is compared to the GEC 15, and you can see it's just slightly bigger than the 15. So this is a like a mid-sized knife. It's not going to take up a whole bunch of room in your pocket or anything, and you're not even going to really notice you have it until you need it, because it's right around that size. The rosewood, the sides do not match. I certainly wouldn't expect that on a knife like this. This knife was like 40. I want to say it was like $40. 40. It was under 50. I know it was under $50. I don't know exactly how much it was. I have the thing right next to me. I could look. It was $42. So for a $42 knife that's made in France, shipped all the way to the United States to be sold by Stefan over at Knives of France, pretty good deal in there, I think. I did notice the pivot pin here is like in. Normally mine are sticking out because I pound on them because they have blade play. This pivot pin's like in. That's a little weird. Um, no blade play. Not super worried about it. It's just a little odd. The bolsters do have a little interesting detail to them, where it like steps down. That's kind of cool. Brass pins, brass liners, steel back spring. I assume the bolsters are steel as well. Not entirely sure. And the blade is C75 carbon steel. It should be. But like I said, this knife was $42 over at knivesofrance.com. If you go over to knivesofrance.com and you spend over $50, you can use the code Bakery Wizard. That's all lowercase to get 10% off of your order. I used it on my order because I bought 2 knives, and I got that 10% off. So I did enjoy my own code. But you guys, if you want to check out some French knives, go over to knivesofrance.com. If you end up buying a knife or buying a couple of knives that totals up to over $50, you can use my code, Bakery Wizard, once again, to get 10% off your order. I thought that was awfully nice of Stefan to offer that to me. I thought that was cool. So I certainly enjoy supporting his business, especially since he's one of the few places, or he's the only place. Honestly, I haven't really looked, but he's the only place that like I know I can get French knives. So I do like checking out French knives, other than open L's, because obviously you can get an open L anywhere. But stuff like this is just cool, in my opinion. And this is kind of like, this is like the French 15, as far as I'm concerned. It's about the same size. It's a good, seems to be a good, like, working man's knife. And it's fairly inexpensive. You can tell that by the way it's made and everything. And I would assume that this is probably what most normal, like, tradesmen or whatever over in France would have carried, especially back in the day, something similar to this. So I do like that. But yeah, cool little knife. I think it's definitely worth $42. The blade centering could be better for sure. But like I said, with the Alpin, I've been carrying that for a while, and I love that knife. And that one's also touching the liner. So I guess it's not that big of a deal to me on a pocket knife. But anyway, this is the Coursolle Pradel, the small one. I think he calls it the small Pradel on his website. I don't know, but it's a smaller version of the Pradel. And that's going to be it for this video. And I will see you guys in the next one. And I hope you have a good day.